Cool. Well, I'll kick it off with a quick introduction about myself before I pass it over to these lovely lads here. My name is Celena Fields. I'm head of artist relations at a superfan platform called Even. I'm super excited to have worked with so many amazing artists at all levels, whether they're just starting out in their career or have an expensive catalog. So looking forward to, connecting with these two and soon to be three about how they're making and driving an impact right here in Charlotte. And hopefully, you all will have some really great takeaways for how you could do the same. Sound good? Okay, amazing. Well, first I'm going to start off with these quick introductions.
Yo, Nia's here. Everyone make
What's
some
up?
noise.
Let's give a round of applause for Nia. Fantastic. You're right on time, no worries. So first, I'm going to introduce Nate. Nate is the lead singer and lyricist of Oceanic. He helps crafts the band's sonic identity, pairing emotional storytelling with collaborative production that has helped really shape Charlotte's modern indie pop scene. Do you agree with that?
No,
Yes.
that's very nice and cool. That's me, everyone.
Absolutely. And next, we have Joe May, a Brazilian-born North Carolina-based singer-songwriter, producer, and band leader. He's known for blending the warmth of 70s West Coast pop with lush, horn-driven arrangements, and through his work at Altamira Studios, he's helped bring a ton of local artists' visions to life.
Would you agree with that?
These are also complimentary. I will accept.
Yeah, take it. We love
the
that.
kind words with
Absolutely.
gratitude. Thank you.
Of course, of course. And last but definitely not least, we have Nia J, one of Charlotte's rising voices in contemporary pop and R&B. Her music, from her latest EP, Rabbit Hole, to her debut album, Melomania, walks the line between deeply personal and universally relatable. Her clarity and emotional honesty have really made her one to watch as well. Thank you.
We all agree.
I will take that. Okay, amazing. So without further ado, let's just jump into these questions here. And feel free, if anyone wants to jump in, please do so. And we'll also have some time at the end for the audience to ask some questions as well. So let's first start off with the foundation of Charlotte itself. The city has grown so much creatively and sonically over, the many decades, but also, still finding identity in comparison to other large markets. Joe, I'm going to ask you this, if you're open to it. When you think about being an artist in Charlotte and within the Southeast region in general, what makes this place so special to you and why?
Well, at the core of it, I like living here. So I'm going to build some good stuff around that because, I don't know, I like to decorate the home a little bit. But also, it's just so nice and convenient. Like, first of all, the summer and spring and fall is all nice. Outdoor shows can be booked anywhere. And there's like 18,000 cities all within 3 to 4 hour drives that are all separate markets. I have been playing with different projects for years, and all of that has just kind of been Georgia to Maryland, and we just zoom that back and forth 5,000 times, and I never had to buy a van or get on a plane for everything, so it's pretty cool. Like, even in North Carolina, you can just do Wilmington, Raleigh, Winston, High Point, Greensboro, Charlotte, and then do all the mountain cities, do Boone and Asheville, so. And everyone is, like, independently a completely different vibe and experience, so it doesn't feel like homogenous, same crowds. You go, one's like a college crowd, the other one's more of like a city crowd, the other one is people that are going out looking for like the local live scene. So I just like the wealth of places and experiences that are so close and so sunny.
Yeah, I definitely love the sunshine. I'm from California and could totally relate to driving miles and miles and miles to get to the next nearest city for sure. I think that's beautiful too, and having that real sense of community around, I'm sure, is helpful as well. And speaking of that, Nate, how have you seen Charlotte's creative scene evolve over the years, and where do you think artists have the most opportunity to make impact right now?
That's a good question. I've been here since COVID, so I've been here for 4 years, and I don't know, I think I've seen obviously a lot of growth since COVID, since it was kind of flatlined a little bit for a second there. And so it seems like there's more events like this and more local shows that are really worth going to. And so just like hanging out at bars and venues seems like the spot to be. Maybe I don't have, a more eloquent answer than that, but like I see more and more bands that I really love and more artists that I get to meet that it does feel like it's blooming a little bit, which is sick. If you guys have something to add to that, that's cooler, then please. But
Yeah, no, I think that was a great answer and super eloquent. No worries. And it also sounds like a lot of this comes back to collaboration in a sense, being able to work closely with not only your creative peers, but also, local leaders in your community as well. And I think that's really important to build where you're at, and then rather than wait for it to come. And it seems like you three have really kind of forged ahead and done that for yourself. So that's great.
yeah, I think any place is kind of made by the people that are there. So really, that's the cool part about doing stuff here.
Totally, yeah. Being able to lean in that sense. Let's kind of move through your journey, right? And staying through it even when you need to adapt. Longevity as an artist, it takes as much, resilience as it does talent. And Nia, I'll direct this question to you actually. When it comes to staying committed to your artistry here in Charlotte, what have you learned that's helped the most, especially when you felt drawn to pivot or maybe explore opportunities elsewhere?
Yeah, I think that I love what I do, but I love where I do it. I like Charlotte a lot. I've mostly lived in North Carolina, and I've traveled to like other countries and cities, but I think it just always feels like home here. So I think just looking back at the community that I've built, the friendships, my wife is from here as well. I think I just love it, and I love making art surrounded by people that I love, and then just hoping that what I'm doing is kind of pushing for the community as well, and that's kind of my focus right now and beyond. So yeah, I'm pretty happy here and hoping to just keep contributing.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's a really great representation of how you could continue to grow creatively, but also staying authentic to your core. So much about being an artist is really staying authentic to who you are, because you yourself are a business or a brand. You need fans to buy in and continue to support you for what you have to offer and not what people think that you are. So I really like that. This is for anyone, to answer, so feel free to jump in. But in terms of balancing your creative and professional connections here in Charlotte, where would you recommend someone to start? What does that look like, or where have you found success doing that? Or maybe where have you found some struggles, and what is something that you're working through currently?
How are we discerning what creative and professional contacts?
Yeah, sure. So I feel like in terms of like creativity, like how are you building and forging relationships with other creatives or musicians, producers, so on and so forth? And then on the business side, how are you connecting maybe with venues or studios or brands to help elevate your brand or to get more, visibility for the work that you're doing?
Probably get into third wave coffee shops, because there's a lot of people that are either a barista there or hang out there that are really, really like cool and interesting and doing something. Because a coffee shop is a great like other job to have. So my band's bassist works at a coffee shop and like stuff like that. And honestly, I meet a lot of people that way, or playing shows with them, or things like that. So maybe that's one.
It's great feedback.
I usually will recommend like the CLT is Creative or Music Everywhere for people who just are truly looking for like somewhere to start and maybe don't have any connections yet. I feel like those are super not intimidating environments where you'll meet like really cool creatives and people that are locked in, or if anything, just friendship and community. So I usually will tell people to maybe check out their Instagrams and those events.
Yeah, Charlotte is Creative is awesome, and the easiest place to like meet anybody. Everyone is so nice and so chill and just down. So
I don't know if I have a like tactical or good answer for this. I don't really believe in networking at all.
Hot take.
I kind of just want to like be friends with all the people that are doing stuff that I already like.
And that's the best version of networking anyway, is just
Yeah.
being a
It
nice.
really is, yeah.
So I'm
normal
not
person.
really ever discerning any of this stuff. I'm kind of just walking through the spaces that I like and just like I don't know. This I feel like it's tough for me to give a helpful answer on this because I naturally just want to like connect, meet people, do more, make the party bigger, invite more people. Like the party being the metaphorical whole journey, but I don't know. It's like, oh, you go to a show, so you really like that show. Okay, who booked it? Wow, I'm gonna call them. And then you're like, okay, well, where did they get this? And then who was the talent buyer? It's like, oh, cool. I'm just gonna find this person and ask them.
Yeah, I think
So I
maybe
just
let's
dig and
let's
dig.
stay on that track a little bit, right? Like especially for artists who are looking to have their first live show or looking to become a support act for, maybe a more established artist that's rolling through town. Like, do any of you have any feedback or suggestions on how an artist could go about navigating it?
Play at the Muse.
Yeah. Yeah, play at the Muse is good. That's a good like overall attitude is and not to be like out there networking and stuff and acting like that because that's super weird vibes. I'm gonna bring up this girl named Briella that has a band called Camisole. They're awesome, and basically I just saw her with a camera at every single show I ever went to. And I was going to a good amount of shows, and she was just always there, and she was always just like wide-eyed and like looking to hang out with people or like, just that was a good one though. She was just like offering photography for free for anybody, and she was starting out too, but she got like nasty at it, and then she started her band and everyone already knew her. And so she already had a shoe into everything, like, and she just loves music though, and you can't really like, you can't fake that,
Right.
and so she wasn't even networking; she was just living it, type of thing.
Caroline and Alex, her roommates, did the photo shoot for my album cover.
Let's
So
go. It's sick.
further pushing the same
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
just being out there.
Just go hang out.
Yeah.
Just go hang out.
Yes.
That's kind of the vibe.
Until further notice, I will be referring to people as nasty when they have really great skills. Love that.
And her band is nasty too. So
They are really nasty.
Sick. Love that.
Did you produce one of the? Did you produce one of the tunes?
I mixed one. Of them,
You mixed one of them.
Okay, multifaceted. Here we go. Love that. I think keeping on and erring on the side of business, fan engagement, building community, and finding new ways to sustain your career financially, obviously things that artists think about. Beyond streams, what has been effective for you in building a deeper connection with fans that has also helped you, feel sustained financially?
Merch.
Love a merch.
Merch is good.
Yeah, I think live shows in general is our thing. I feel like that's the most like you have a captive audience and people that are. I mean, you could lose their attention, I guess, but it's yours to lose, I guess. And so I always say that if we can get the people in the room and play the show for them, then we can like be friends and see them at another show later or whatever. That's definitely, and it pays significantly more than streams, even if it's a bad paying show. It's more than streams. So
It's weird to hear you talking about being concerned about losing fans when I think you have like the most visually engaging show I've ever seen.
well, everybody's ADHD these days, so you gotta like flash the lights.
It's getting worse for me.
Definitely me.
What was the question you were asking about? You were asking about financial stuff.
Yeah, like what beyond streaming, like what has been effective for you in terms of building a deeper connection with fans that also helps sustain you financially? I think merch and shows is a great way to sustain financially, but on the flip side of it, how are you even capturing these fans to want to go and pay to see you or pay for the merch that you have? What are some, practical things that you've tested and saw have worked pretty well?
I'm actually leaning into stagnation in my current season and really enjoying it.
I like the honesty.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
having a blast deliberately stagnating.
Yeah, you don't have to force it.
There's some 4D chess shit going on.
There's no strategy to it. It's just like I've been leaning back into a lot of like the core of this whole thing is play music very fun. 4 words.
Yeah.
Like, so much fun.
That's
and
cool.
then when I like put all the pressure, I'm like, metrics this, TikToks that, I go crazy.
Yeah.
So, not doing it. And the shows have been better than ever since
love
that
that.
attitude switch happened. Having more fun on stage, more crowd engagement. Like, it's just the best.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't even have my phone in my pocket. I'm just here talking, connecting with people. I'm doing the same with the shows. I met a bunch of y'all that were at the set last night, and like new friends. So like it's actually kind of simple, and I don't know. And like we're entering this weird like post AI bubble economy that's gonna explode soon, and the whole thing's gonna fizzle down to like hyper local model anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm just starting now before it explodes of turning off the device and just playing shows and talking to people.
Yeah, talking to people is really important. You know, I think that has been for so long maybe the missing link for artists and fans is like not actually talking to the fans and not wanting to hear directly from them and vice versa. So I think you have the right idea.
It's our whole generation, not just musicians.
Valid. I like that. And Nia, maybe you might be able to share some insight here too. Like, what has been some creative ways that you've been able to drive revenue that maybe other local artists aren't thinking about, you know, specifically here in Charlotte? I know we've kind of talked about where artists could perform, where they should go, but if you have any advice, I think the room really appreciate that.
Yeah, I feel like merch is usually the biggest thing. But aside from merch, something I've done with my last 2 projects was crowdfunding. So I found like a site that I liked, and it's cool because with people who make donations, you get to offer like a specific piece of merch, and you can do tiers, and you can make it personalized. You can write letters, CDs, whatever you want. And I think that's a fun way to engage and kind of make it feel like they're not just giving you money, but like here's a piece of the project of myself in exchange for your help so that I can keep going. So I think crowdfunding is kind of an odd one that I've liked.
Yeah, no, I love that approach. I think, again, it's time back to, you know, there's already a strong community embedded here in Charlotte. Like, how do we continue to tap into it and share that with the people around us?
Also, people need to learn about tax codes.
Do you want to elaborate more?
No, because I'm not a CPA, so I'm not going to give anyone tax advice. But
Heard you.
then raising some of your revenue, you could lower your tax expenditure. And there's classes for all this stuff. But it's easier. If you have a small business, it's very sustainable. And North Carolina only charges like $250 to open a company. So if anyone's a musician and hasn't created a company, that's definitely like the first step to lowering some of your overhead. So everyone talks about growth, but I think sustainability is also part of the conversation, and that's like the shortcut to that.
Yeah, definitely.
Real quick, if you have an artist project or you're an artist, will you raise your hand real quick? Because okay, sick. There's a lot of you. All right. We're just saying all these artist things. I don't know if we're talking to tech lords right now or who we're talking to. So
No, that was a great segue. Thanks for the temp check. Appreciate that. I think, you know, kind of, Joe, what you're mentioning too is, you know, resources that are available. I think that's like a really great pivot for us to maybe talk about what that looks like. You know, specifically to you, Joe, how have you found success partnering, you know, with either local businesses, venues, or community spaces to support your music?
Oh, this is fun. I've actually done a couple of these. So I did like a show with the gym that I go to like last year. Like I've got some friends that own like a gym franchise. They have like 3-4 locations. And like I'm already going there and I already know everyone, and they try to do a happy hour. So I like was talking to the owner of the place. I was like, let's just do a show. Do one of your happy hours at my show, and I'll give everyone that's a member of the gym $5 off the ticket. And then if you go to the show and you don't go to the gym, you get a month of free workouts. And that was a blast. And that just came from, again, I'm already just friends with the guy, and the idea came from conversations. So I'm in kind of a rebirth zone right now as a solo artist, but before this, I played and toured with my band Pluto Gang, and we did a beer collaboration with Triple C, and that was really fun. Yeah, it was. They named a beer after one of our songs, and then like put our logo on the can. It's really weird, like going on like Untapped, and like some drunkard in Connecticut is giving me the review of his like, this is a good IPA. It was the sixth one I've had. It's phenomenal. But we did like a whole release with them. So they release all of their new things, and we just sang and played. And they already have people that come to all the releases. So we kind of just tapped into their existing thing.
Yeah, I think that's a really great example of how to use your resources and community effectively. Kind of to double down on that too, let's say that you don't already have this relationship with a brand or, you know, a space. Like, what kind of advice would you provide to an artist that, you know, wants to cold email or start that relationship? What has worked for you? And this is open to everyone.
I definitely recommend going in person.
Yeah.
Over a cold email. Like, I've shopped at this this thrift store near me only like once or twice. And I'm doing a shoot this weekend, and I need a bike. And I was like, they do consignment with bikes. So instead of emailing, because I'm like, they probably won't answer, I just like went in and talked with them, and they were like, oh yeah, like you can totally do that. And I just feel like you go much further when you go in and introduce yourself, like talk a little bit about what you're doing, and then it's easier to like be invested in you. So I would recommend like just go right in.
Yeah, I think the IRL is way better across the board.
And maybe that's go to Charlotte is Creative or Creative Mornings, and that's very IRL. So
I love that. In terms of maybe like local grants or funding resources that, you know, either of you have tapped into, are you able to give some advice on like what that process looks like, or, you know, what are some local resources where funding is an option to artists?
I haven't made any money from grants. Have you guys?
I got a little bit this year.
Oh,
I got denied 2 days ago.
But the next one is coming right around the corner.
That's right.
Wait till I get
Good
those
feeling.
panel notes. Like, maybe I'll know what to do.
I got like one of the Charlotte Hug grants this year, and that was cool. And I was like working on like an interview series for the album that I put out in May. So like the case, I tried to present a pretty coherent case of like, this is specifically going to, I need a second microphone and I need a designer to make a logo for this. So it was like a very targeted, this is the thing. And that worked for a lot. Well, also, I don't know if Salt Lick is here this year, but they've spoken the last 2 years, and they do really cool big grants and like live performances. But I'm also, I don't love spending all day writing and filling out forms. I like writing creatively all day, but I don't love telling someone why I'm worth their time in paper. And
You're alone in that. We all love doing that stuff. So.
But I think the summation is that, yes, I could spend that amount of time writing the form, or I could just book another show and make the same amount of money. And I'm not dunking on it, but it's just, for me, it's more accessible.
Probably double.
You probably, yeah, and then you add merch in there, so gig. But shout out to the Charlotte is Creative and the Charlotte Hug grants, because then after I got that, I told one of my friends to apply for it. He got one afterwards, and he was also playing last night with Time Sawyer. So it's definitely supporting people in the community, and they make those forms really accessible. So go do it.
That's amazing. That's good free game. And also in reference to, you know, how you even go about outreach for these resources, what are some like tangible materials that like an artist should have within, I guess, their Rolodex for when presenting their craft or their artistry to a potential sponsor or for these grants? You know, obviously we have EPKs, we have, you know, listening link, but what are some items or resources that have helped you really get in front of people?
I think the EPK is probably the main one, or just like a good website and a good, like, here's what we're doing, here's the shows we've played, whatever's the most impressive thing that you've accomplished, and then the other thing is go accomplish something, and then so that you can put it on a document or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I second that. Just keeping it all on like a running doc is good. So that way, like in the moment, you're not overwhelmed. You can just kind of pull from that and be like, here's my website, EPK, all my shows, brand, bio, stuff like that.
I feel like I'm gonna keep giving weird answers on all these.
Let's go. What's next?
I like buying domain names and like hosting weird websites for things. So if I'm like trying to make a case for something, I'll just buy that domain on Squarespace for $7 for 1 year, make a website for it, and then put a bunch of photos, make it flashy, make something move. I don't know.
Super relatable. I love that.
I'm gonna steal that. That's kind of
Yeah,
fun.
it's so cheap if you have a Squarespace account. Buy a domain name, move the stuff over there. Like, you can have multiple
Wow.
domains on your account, and that's fun.
So you're saying in terms of like showing that you have credibility
Yeah.
for whatever it is, like, look, I made a website.
Fake any amount of credibility. If someone like, okay, so I'm like trying to do more home recording. I just bought a domain name, took a bunch of really good photos of stuff. Logan here is in the third row. He helped me do a lot of video and audio. And then I got my friends to do testimonials. And credibility overnight, or at least the illusion of credibility.
You're talking credibility. I was thinking you meant like a themed site, like, oh, my gym show has a gym website.
Yeah, and it's, oh no, that's cool. I haven't done
Right?
that.
That's where
You're
I
taking
went.
it
And
to
I
the
was
next
like,
level.
I'm going to do that. But that's a whole different,
True.
that's a different ballgame.
We gotta all smoke weed together. sometime.
The wheels are turning.
I am way too
Riding in
anxious of
real
a
time
person to
here.
do that. I have severe anxiety.
That's how you become an artist.
Yeah, it's all about the journey, Amazing. And I think, to kind of tie up this segment about local resources and relationships, we talked a little bit about building a relationship with venues and promoters here in Charlotte, but what would you suggest to an artist that has never had a live show before? Like, they've been in their bedroom, they're putting content online, they really want to get in front of people. What's some advice you would give to them to be in the best position to make an impact or first impression with venues and promoters?
I may just cite Briella again, because she was just always at the venues and knew all the bands, and so when a band was like, hey, there's this new band, then it was just like, no problem. That's probably the only thing I could think of. But
Yeah, I think just going to shows and building relationships with people, putting your face out there, and then when they kind of connect the dots to the music you make, as long as the art is good, I think it'll come.
yeah, there's maybe an element of like practice a lot also, but
Yeah.
And practice with people that are at the same level. I think the truism, ain't nothing to it but to do it, comes in, and you find 4 other people that are at the same spot. And also, if this is like local artists in here, I think like a practical takeaway is every Monday, the Evening Muse hosts an open mic. And it's fun. It's got a mix of like songwriters, performers, comedy, spoken word. But there is kind of like an inherent pipeline where you perform at the open mic, and there's like a featured act every week on Monday. If you perform enough and you get to know Joe and Lori and Chris enough, then they'll grab you for the featured act. Once you've done that, then you kind of have a pipeline for getting an actual gig booked at the Evening Muse. And then you've been to enough of those that you can find an artist to come open, and then next thing you know, with no work at all, you've kind of had all the pieces falling into place just by being at the right spot and trying.
you know what I forgot until you started talking about that open mic is that Briella went to that open mic a
Wait,
bunch.
really?
Yeah, that's how she was like.
True.
She would go and not tell anyone, and then
Oh,
she
yeah.
started telling her closest friends, and then she had a band and was playing 6 shows. Next thing you knew.
Tajani did the same thing. Yeah, he. He's just like phenomenal at what he does. Yeah, so
So good.
we'll play together, and he didn't tell us, but he was doing those open mics. And then finally I went to one because then he did share it, and I was like, oh, I want to see what that's about. And yeah, like went up the pipeline, and I think that is like a foolproof way for sure.
And then we just see the videos of him at the neighborhood theater a couple weeks ago looking like a rock star, and you're like,
And he
oh
was
shit,
a rock
this
star
guy's
that night.
been
Yeah.
working it. Like,
Yeah, it's fun to see the difference, but it does show like if you kind of like stay the course and start from the ground, you can work your way up.
That's you.
I kind of just second that. Just like we said earlier, just go hang out. You never know who you'll meet. And I think just keep like honing your craft, like keep practicing, even if it's in your room, like for the moment when you do get to, take the stage. So I think just like mixing the relationships that you form, and then just being ready when the opportunity strikes is all you can do, and it works.
I think in my experience, the like LA, New York, Nashville has still been important for me, but it's not it's cool to not have to live there, and you can go and just lean into the new kid on the block kind of energy. And people are like, oh, where are you from? Oh, you're not from here? Oh, you're from North Carolina? And then you have like, I've seen like a little bit of an edge from that, just from not being like, oh, you're another person in Nashville trying to do music,
Y'all came in really hot when you moved to Charlotte. I felt like.
What do you mean?
Y'all it was just like, I was seeing y'all everywhere.
Sick.
Yeah.
We're just playing Jack Beagles every 2 weeks.
And I was there, and y'all brought out a whole lit riser into Jack Beagles, and I was like, no one's done that.
And then we loaded it out until 3 a.m. after that.
Yes.
Those were the days, am I right?
I have one more thought on the question, though, is a practical and then like a locational philosophical thing. The practical is playing other people's shows. So there's a lot of other bands that have gigs. So get on their sub list, because there's always people that get sick or having a conflicting gig. Be their backup, whatever instrument you play, just pop in, do a weekend of shows with someone else's. And shotgunning 30 songs and having to learn that in 2 days, that's good practice. But on the city thing, there's a value to not being oversaturated. And like, I don't know, there's so many shows where there's 8,000 people in the same genre booking the same venues, and there's a monotony to repetition. And I think there is a value that you can more quickly establish yourself in a 500,000 to 1 million person city rather than a 5 million person city. It's a lot easier to crack through to that saturation point just via the makeup of the city. So I think that's an advantage. People think numbers in terms of mass, but what if we looked at numbers in terms of like your key breakout point to be sustainable and have a lower cost of living? So I think that point for a working musician is easier in this size city than Chicago's, New York's, and LA's.
And like you said, there's so many good cities that are 2 hours to 4 hours away that are incredible.
No, that's really great. I mean, I am from a small little town called Long Beach, California, but obviously having quick access to LA and just seeing artists come and go, I totally understand that. And I think that's really great advice. Starting homegrown and having the city be behind you, nothing beats it. When you're able to travel to these other markets too, you already have a great backing. So I think that's key, and I definitely see being Charlotte as an advantage. Thank you so much to our panelists. We're going to now open this up to Q&A. So we have Casey over here who's going to be able to have the microphone. Anyone have any questions you want to hop in? And please don't be shy. Okay, we got someone in the back. Amazing.
This is going to be weird if you specifically didn't ask a question, so thank you.
You're welcome. So I heard you say that you have a career with a band and solo. Can you go over some of the differences in your experience with that? And what advice would you have for someone who is a solo artist?
I think that one was for me. Being in a band, I think, this is going to be wildly anecdotal, but everyone's stories are personal based and anecdotal, so that's all we can ever do. But for me, selling a band was a lot easier than selling the solo act, both from like an internal ethical standpoint and from like a storytelling standpoint. The storytelling is, look, hey, we're a bunch of people and we just created something bigger than ourselves and we want you to take part in that. That's a really easy story to tell. the solo artistry has been hard because it requires me to make myself the center of someone else's attention, and that's a request that I'm not that comfortable making overtly. So usually what that looks like for me is like trying to make my studio the point of attention, or a collaboration a point of attention, or highlighting my bandmates on stage. And again, these are my own like social inhibitions rather than like an actual tactical thing. But putting your name on stuff is weird. But there's also an earnestness to it. My path has been one of silliness and collectivity. And I don't know if that's everyone else's, but that's been my experience.
Thank you. Anyone else want to weigh in? Are we good? Great. We have another question here in the back.
Hey, you guys. My name is Daniel Thomas. I am the owner and operator of Safe Zone Studios here in Charlotte. I'm a big fan of all you guys, like, hey, Nia. And I just wanted to ask, like, forgive me if I don't know this, but if any of you guys are signed to, like, a major label, or if you guys are, if that's something that's in your game plan to be signed to a major label, if you have any, I guess, like, I just want to hear your take on that, because I know a lot of people now, they look at major labels as still very impactful for, like, the artist's journey, but I know it's not necessarily necessary for a lot of people. You know, a lot of people are coming out now as individual artists, so I just wanted to hear your take on getting signed, or if you're already signed, would you speak on that?
Joe May is signed to Scientology. That's his label. I'm just kidding.
That's actually, yeah, that's...
These two.
Totally reads.
Are we all independent?
We're all independent.
Yeah, we're all independent, so none of us are signed. My philosophy is that most of the time, if there's something really like going on that you've created that is going to continue going on and is growing, that's the only time that a label is going to be interested anyway. So I would be fine signing to a major if it made sense and it wasn't a deal that was totally screwing me over. Because there's just like, you know, a height that you can't really reach independently. But we've got like a long way to go independently still. So I don't know. I'm not against it, and also like, yeah, you got to make your own thing happen anyway. And if you get to that point and you're making enough money and you're doing enough, like you're having fun with it, then like why do you need a label now, kind of thing. So I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely have a long way to go before a label would even be in the picture, but I'm also not opposed to being signed. I think, yeah, there's just a level that you can't tap as an independent artist, and I think that they can help you cross over, and it's effective, you know, when the terms are right. So I would definitely be open to it.
I've been working on a tune called I Would Sell My Soul If I Could Buy It Back.
Yes.
And I think that kind of speaks for itself. That being said, I do work in relationship management and deal governance during the day to make end meets. That also means I'm a pain in the ass for negotiations. For me, I did just get like a pretty good distribution type deal that I created myself where I can distribute through video. And the way I did that was I set myself up as an agency rather than an artist. And that was like a way better way to get something like a lot more curated than DistroKid or, you know, and I know there's a lot of people from Symphonic that speak at this. I've worked with them. But I was able to like, same thing. I created a domain name for my agency.
Talk about
applied,
it.
got that. So I've just been able to do that myself. But also, if you're out here and you're doing it your own, call me, because now I have a distribution agency. So
I'm gonna send you a text later.
Soft plug.
This is networking right here.
Right, remember you said he doesn't believe in it. Here you go.
this is scheming.
I think we have time for just one last question if anyone has. Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. We got in the back.
Got it in the back.
Hi, my name is Michaela. I'm an artist. I know you guys were like really focused on like gig engagement, and from what I've like seen, like from people who I know who do gigs, they aren't really too focused on social media engagement with their fans and everything. They're busy on being like in-person networking. What is your take on both of those sides of things? Do you depend on one more than the other, or?
That's an interesting question. You're saying like that sometimes the balance isn't there between like if you're just focusing on gigs or if you're just focusing on social media?
Yes, like I feel like, okay, so with the people that I know who do gigs, they do post on social media, but versus an artist who's trying to get fans through social media, they're not as active. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
With gigging, they're not as active, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like you gotta kind of do everything all at once to really, like, literally everything you can think of to do is you gotta do it. Is kind of what it seems like, and I've not been a perfect example of that at all, but we would probably lean to the gig side, and we're trying to, find that balance as well. I mean, there's a legitimate strategy for just blowing up online and having a bunch of streams and having a bunch of attention that way. But I think that if you're going to have like a longer career that's more sustainable, and you can put people in a room and make money that way, because that's more the way to make money these days as opposed to streaming, then you like kind of have to do both at the same time. But also they both help each other for sure. If you're putting out a lot of good content and is getting a lot of attention, then more people will be at the shows. Not necessarily, but like that can happen. And if I don't know, if you're only making silly little videos or whatever, the people might not come to the show. But if it's
silly video maker here checking in.
Yes, likewise. But that's a really interesting thing to have your finger on, of like where you want to land with that. That's a good consideration. But my answer would be just like do it all. If you can find someone to make enough reels for you, or
the small glowing rectangle gives me anxiety, so my answers have skewed the other way.
No, that's real. I think also just from a consumer standpoint, it takes some time for a fan to lock in. They may need to see content multiple times. I can't tell you how many times I've seen the same type of content on my feed from the same artist, and maybe on the fourth or fifth time, I'm like, I think I'm gonna go listen to this actually. Like, I love the way they performed it. So I think in that breath, yeah, do it all, and don't be afraid to present it. I think sometimes we live in this idea that content needs to be super produced, or, but it doesn't. We could get so much accomplished just at the palm of our hands with our phones. So as long as you have the content, put it out there for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's also different for different people. So
Yeah.
Whatever works for you, because shows work the best for us, so we keep doing that. And there's a few different things that we found online that work and fit our skill set, but it's kind of few and far between sometimes. And then the whole app updates and everything changes, and then you can't do that anymore, or like whatever. So
The algorithm.
Right. Well, I think on that note, we're wrapped up. Thank you so much to our amazing panelists
Thank
for
you.
your time.
Thank you.
And continue to keep the conversation going. One of the things that they mentioned is going in person and collaborating with one another. Make sure you tap in with them after
do you
this
guys have
too.
anything to plug? Songs
Oh
coming out
yeah,
or something?
please.
Oceanic.
Oceanic. Well, I do have a song coming out, so I'm fishing
You
for
have
it
a song coming out.
next week.
And
then
I have a song coming out.
Okay, yes.
When?
October 17th.
Same.
So just
Song buddies.
just listen
Support
to them
both.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she is playing on Friday with us as well at Snug. So come to the Snug show on Friday.
Amazing. Well, thank you all. Really appreciate it.
Boom.
Thanks.